Good morning and welcome to that of the Crypto Day morning, with today's date being that of Friday the 29th day of June 2018. Very quick look at, we'll look at Bitcoin and Monero throughout this video, but not much is going on other than small losses. 3, 4, 5, 6% in crypto space. I consider that small losses. And as we look at the Bitcoin chart, like always, all risks you take within the crypto space and investing field is always within your own risk, own reward. You're in control of your own investment. So that's pretty much how it goes. And we're seeing continuation amongst the Bitcoin chart as it's been just grinding its way, making lower highs, lower lows since the last high back at the early stages of May. So it's been about almost 2 months within this particular bear market. And as I've been stating, this thing is continuing its path onto some previous Fibonacci in and around 3087, but I'm looking for it to probably pierce below if it manages to get there, and it looks as if something like that would be the more probable event. We take a look at this on a single hour time frame. As a technical analysis person, I look at this. There's only one way for me to get the better story of what happened on the hour of 1 a.m. because at this point it made lows not seen in several months and highs not seen in several hours. Well, it's an outside period, but it's an outside period amongst the last like 5 or so, the whole correctionary move. Like I've been stating a lot of times, before the key move, you're going to get a move in the opposite direction. To see this more clearly, I need to shorten out the time frame. And on the 15-minute chart, I can see just such an example. So here's a spot where it breaks down below this level, and then it has the up move. However, since this up move has occurred, market has had this whatever sideways movement, just doing a little bit of nothing for the most part, but has been grinding down since that point. So we have this range on the short term at about 5,920 and support, which is betweening that of 58.18 and the low made at 57.75. So that brings you to the neutrality basis on the short term time frame. I look at the intermediate term time frame, and it is totally in a solid bear market where you expect to have down moves, lower highs, lower lows, and for a lot of short term and less shorter terms to have a lot of rally fails. And healing, of course, the bear market is going to take a lot of work in most situations. We look at this on a more longer term time frame. The monthly chart, it's in a bull market having a correctionary phase. 18 average barely rising. And if we look at this even on a quarterly chart, we're not going to see much, but we'll see the 18 average and where it lies. And within such, we have the price action at the 18 highs right now. The 18 average of lows is in at 2,051, which of course is deeper than this number, and on any price declines, that number can only go down based on its mathematics, because right now it takes the lowest price, it multiplies it by 18, takes the lowest one of each previous one by 17, 16, 15, and 14 on each previous one, takes the sum of those numbers. I think it divides it by 177, but it divides it from the sum of numbers from 1 through 18. However, if this could move on to another quarter, and it's going to, because the quarter ends tomorrow, that this number is going to be rising. The previous 18 average of lows before this, it went from 1,550 to 2,000. So it went 500 basis points higher month over month from May to June. So this is going to move up to about maybe 2,400, 2,500 going into July, which will coincide with a pierce below the 3,000 area. And you can't see the 18 average much of it, but we can pretty much make an assumption that it had the 18 average of lows test, which was a successful past one when it reached its early 2015 lows. Now let's take a quick look at Monero, both against Bitcoin and then against the dollar. Now if you look at exchanges, and I'm going to go with the big three that at least I trade within. When you withdraw the funds, this is Bittrex on the top. They want a tag and an address you have to send through. You need your normal address, and a few other ones have this as well. But what you'll notice with a bunch of them on Poloniex is you go to deposit, all they're giving you is the address. There is no code whatsoever. So I've never ever deposited with something like this, and I wouldn't try this. So make sure that unless you know it's safe, I would never deposit into something like this when they're only giving you the address to deposit to when you require two of them. Within Binance, when you go to the deposit section here, and I don't have any XMR on this particular platform. I do own them, but not here. It says important, send only XMR to this deposit address. Sending any other coin to this address may result in the loss of your deposit. And it says you have to click on this, and then they will give you both of the numbers, so you can then copy and paste them both into a place like a Bittrex to do such a thing. And they go to trade. You can trade against Bitcoin and against Ethereum on that site. And I do find it very odd that they do not have this against the US Tether, but be it as it may. Interesting few days here. This is really, really cool because it's showing a lot of choppy action within the situation of trying and attempting and reverting the trend against Bitcoin. The one thing I like against Monero is, at least if it's grinding its way down, it's going to have a bit more up and down movements, as this is beautiful trading in here. A lot of, not only was the market going up, but you had a lot of good up and down movements to be able to buy low, sell high, and amongst a bull market have more buy orders than you should when a market makes about a gain of about a 3x. But that's really the interesting part of this. It has sweet volatility movement, but low volatility compared to a lot of the other alternate coins, where when you look at some of their runs from late 2017 to at the end of the year or into January 2018, a lot of altcoins are having 6, 10, 20, 50x gains, and some even larger than that. However, this does give you lower declines amongst the same as well in the same comparison. But a lot of nice choppy action, which is very good for putting orders in. As you can see in here, when you had this rally in August of last year, price action goes from like 0.1 to like almost a 4x move. And every single one of these sell orders that you concluded on August 28th were bought back within the months of really September and October, and then you sell it in November, December, into January. And it's really nice if you can get a whole bunch of these types of moves, like we can see at least within the move of April. Just a quick little move, get a few sells in, and then you just buy them back. At least that's what I do within my strategy, of course. And let's quickly take a look at what's going on in the short term, because this is very, very interesting. So let's take a look at this thing on an hourly time frame to see more amongst this move. And even in here, this is pretty choppy as well. But the situation that you see is spots like this. Here's your failed breakdown, which resulted in a failed breakout. And just a lot of choppy up and down action, making it even very good for short-term trading. Finishing this off with Monero against the dollar quickly. This level of support hit in February and in April has been resisted and such, and has had one leg lower from this point. So when I talk about stuff like the Bitcoin failed breakdown at around 5,000, it would be something like this. It would be a noticeable break of support. But that's only, of course, if this fails. When we take a look at this on a more longer term time frame, and we'll use, say, a weekly example, this was a continuous up move from these lows in here, which isn't about 20, little over a quarter, which managed to go up to about almost a half of $1,000 or 500. What do we got as a high on here? I see 478 on this one. So 478 I'm going to enter on Fibonacci with a low at about 30 cents. And if I wanted to get very technical, I would need higher numbers because 0.3 is the low and 478 is the high. These numbers are all rounded. And the highest number I have is 84, which is a 23.6% down move. That, I guess, would be the target I'd be looking for the next leg lower. And of course, breaking that, it would be 30. So let's just take a look at 84 and 30 amongst here. And within such, it could be very realistic for market movements to possibly decline to this level. It's just an area that I'd be looking for to see how well support would come towards that level, because when you go in any type of downtrend or free fall, these are the spots in which you are looking to have at least a little bit of support. And the way I look at most of the times, more times than not, if this is going to make a move to 30, then I would often expect support to be found here, some sort of bear market rally, and then a move down to the next key level. That's why oftentimes when I say something is both bullish or bearish to occur, which is the exact same thing, that's a situation where you can maybe come down to like the 84, you find your support, and if it's bullish, it's obviously going to go higher. That's a no-brainer. But if it's in a bearish mode, it's not a surprise to come back to areas at which you oftentimes came back from. I'd like to thank you for tuning in to this morning's video and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.